also under agriculture, we have a new section called quarantine inspections. And the idea here is very similar. Instead of just entering daily summaries of quarantine activities, you'll actually enter all of your quarantine inspections one by one, so you have a record of each of them. And with a quarantine inspection, the form is gonna adapt itself to the type of inspection it is. So the first thing I need to identify is which quarantine contract is this gonna go under, right? Because you've got your general quarantine, but then you've got individual quarantine reports for GWIS, sod, LBAN, dog team, EGVM, gypsy moth. And then in your high risk program or your terminal inspection program, you've got specific line items for spotted lanternfly, southern states and Hawaii inspections. Now again, this list has been developed sort of generically with Riverside. I want to go through the process of reviewing this list with you as well and adapt it to what you have in Orange County. But if I pick, let's just start with a general. And then the inspection types we have seed field walks for seed certifications, outgoings, which are FIDOs, incomings, and then commodity inspections. And the information we're going to ask for depends on what kind of inspection it is. So let's start with a real common one, right? So your FIDOs. So for a FIDO inspection, we want to know who's the grower, and in each of these identification boxes, you can either pick someone out of your database, or if they're not in your database for some reason, you can just type it in. And then that would tie into the process of updating your locations database with that information. For the shipper, we want to know who the shipper is and also what carrier they use. And then for the recipient, and then the next thing we want to know is what's the inspection location? What kind of location is it? Are you inspecting at the origin facility? Are you inspecting at a specialty market? Where is this being shipped? Where is the inspection taking place at? So maybe there's an outgoing shipment that you're doing at the origin facility. And again, if you know it, if that origin facility is in your database, you can reference it. But if it's a parking lot in a truck and you're just inspecting the truck on its way out, you can just put in the description of the address. Then the other information we want to know for FIDO is what's the description of the commodity and the packaging, and did you issue the certificate or not? And then if you don't issue the certificate, some information about what was detected and what actions you took. So did you issue a hold and what's the release date? A description of the pest detected, the PDR number or numbers if you sent in samples, and then actions taken. So then if I take a look at an incoming shipment, that's going to be similar, but there's some different things we want to know about incoming shipments for quarantine exclusion, right? So again, we want to know who the shipper is, who the receiver is. We don't ask anything about the grower because it's coming in from out of state or from another county, so it's not one of your growers. We do want to know where you inspected it. Was it FedEx Air, FedEx Ground? If so, where's the location? Commodity packaging, and then for incoming shipments, what kind of quarantines are at play here? Is there an origin quarantine? Is there a commodity quarantine? Or is there some other kind of quarantine that applies to this package or this shipment? And then what kind of paperwork was accompanying the package? And any notes you have about the incoming paperwork. And then again, if you're find some problem with the incoming package, did you hold it? What pests were detected, and so forth.
This data will feed to report 4A for the incoming?
The mapping of this information to the various forms, right? So there's quarantine information on report 4, report 4A, report 4 GWIS, report 4 SOB, report 4 LBAN. There's all these different individual reports. And I'm still working on that mapping. But yes, this information, once you have a list of specific quarantine inspections, that's going to map to all those different forms.
Is this specific to like a singular inspection and like your your dog team and your terminal inspections where you have inspectors looking at a large number of commodities at one time through their whole entire time there, and they're just entering, because right now in report 4 they're entering the location they went to, FedEx, they profiled 25 packages and they inspected 25 packages in an hour. That was and their mileage. That's the detail that we're pulling out. I know that's is that being documented somewhere else, and then this would be a higher level detail for, like, okay, I took of those 4 boxes, here's the ones I placed on hold, and more information because I placed PDRs and everything like that to it. Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, so I don't know the full answer to that question yet. This is still things to be worked out with these new forms. These individual forms would be a package by package form. So if I were doing pest exclusion, incoming shipments, and I was at FedEx, if I used this form, I would enter a form for every package that I inspected. And there are some small counties that may opt to do that.
Okay.
We still have the daily summary level report 4. So using these forms is not going to prevent you from using this form where you could just put in, I went to one FedEx and I put in, I profiled 25 shipments, inspected 15 of them, etc. What I haven't worked out yet is I will need to combine this data with this data.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want it to be an either or for all of these, because swap meets you may want to put in individual quarantine inspections, and FedEx you may not want to. So I still have to work that out, but this sort of alleviates a big problem, which is that inspectors that go out and do quarantine inspections don't always sort of get how to fill out these forms, as well as all the other quarantine related forms, which are you got your individual forms for every program, and they're all a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So the nursery inspection form that I showed you is pretty close. Like I say, we'll want to do some customization with you, but that one I think we're 80% of the way through developing and implementing, and you'll have the benefit of feedback from both Riverside and Imperial County, or at least their experience using it before before we get into your full implementation next year. The quarantine inspection forms still have a long way to go. I'd say they're more like 25 to 30% complete. And the biggest question is, like I said, mapping this information from the individual inspection level to the county monthly report forms and sort of how to integrate that data. But I wanted to show you that because I know those were the 2 areas that on the ag side, you had some concern about how easy it would be for your inspectors to use CalCATS as it stood the last time we looked at it.